I actually think that that point I made about The Who, which I stand by, has sort of been nullified slightly by the fact that, like, by default, Florence has stepped up. And I think there's, like, that just, like, ticks so many boxes for me. It's, like, a great pop act, like, I suppose in the grand scheme of things, a new artist, certainly compared to, like, Foo Fighters or even Kanye. And a female at the top of the bill, which, you know, obviously has been, like, kind of an issue of late. So, yeah, I stand by what, you know, I love The Who. But I stand by what I said about it feeling like an obvious choice or a safe choice when I think there are so many bands that kind of people are bemoaning are not stepping up to that level. You know,
I think you'd be hard pressed to find a better, kind of more diverse lineup than this year's Glastonbury. You know, I think having Florence fill that gap just kind of fulfills the balance.
Well, I think she should have been doing it in the first place. I think that's. I think that's the point I think I was trying to make, yeah. But it's, you know, or not just her specifically, but someone, you know, of that ilk, really, yeah.
It's very self-fulfilling headlining Glastonbury, so I think it's kind of giving that person the opportunity to then establish themselves as a worthy headliner for other things, so you're not travelling around the world seeing the same band headline for like 3 or 4 years in a row, all the festivals.
Yeah, and nostalgia pays, and I understand that. And I think it's like, you know, that means the festivals have their hands tied because they know they can sell tickets by putting sort of heritage acts at the top of the bills. But it does make it, I guess it makes it difficult for newer artists to break through and reach that level, maybe, you know. Yeah. Because like Freddie said, it is it's self-filling. Like I remember thinking that Kings of Leon headlining in 2008, even though they were one of the biggest bands in the world, that sort of cemented them as such,
exactly.
You know.
And I think they're actually doing themselves a big favour by supporting the kind of the new class of headline bands, because, you know, the Who can do it this year, but then they couldn't come back and do it next year. You have to kind of set yourself up for bands that are going to be able to do it over the next 5 years. Otherwise, you're going to be left with no one, because these bands are just going to retire, and then you haven't supported the next generation.
I mean, we've headlined smaller festivals, but I wouldn't feel comfortable being anywhere closer to the top than we are right now. I think that's something that, you know, that's something you really have to earn, and not through like time or releases, but I think through adoration. And I don't think we're at that sort of level really yet. Yeah.
But I also think there's no rush. You know, like Justin said, I feel probably really uncomfortable. Not that we get offered it, but if we were offered it, I feel very uncomfortable at this point. But I think actually, in my mind, maybe in 2 years, another record down the line, maybe I wouldn't feel the same way. You know, I used to look at people standing side stage for the first bands and think they're the luckiest people in the whole world to be on the other side. So there's something wholly realistic about the whole thing, but it's absolutely an ambition of ours to headline festivals. You know, it just is. You know.